Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me this week. Today we are picking back up with our Laravel clean architecture, but this time we will be looking at some testing. And hello wife, thank you for joining. The first one to comment, my wife. So supportive, thank you very much. So we are going to be using pestPHP today to go through some testing. We might go through some refactoring of what we've built so far, depending on what comes out during the testing process. And I like to build parts of my code, write my tests, and then tweak it as I can. Hey, Rian, and yes, I love you too, wife. Right, so where shall we start? The tests folder. So we did start with a test. I don't know if this is running yet, so let's fix this. So let's apply that. Apply. Let's see what's going on. So run. Hey, no, it does run. I'm not getting the. Oh, I am getting the output, but I'm getting the. Oh, interesting. I don't know. Hey, buddy, how are you doing? So let's start with our testing. So we've got a number of endpoints. If we remember, if we can go through to our API v1, we've got these endpoints here. So if we just zoom in a bit, what I'll do, I'm going to hide my face. I know my beard looks awesome, but the focus is the code. So let's just hide my face there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 endpoints really, and we've got this authenticated one, but we've not handled the authentication properly through the API yet. It is using Sanctum under the hood. It has got Jetstream installed, so there's no reason you can't authenticate through a third party as an API anyway. So we will just get started and just see what goes on, I suppose. So we've done this one so far, this index controller. As you can see down here, we're getting this very specific route, and we're just asserting that the status is okay. So what we can do, I suppose, is this is where we can jump into some of the JSON helpers, I suppose. We can like assert JSON fragment, assert some structure, assert path. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's assert path. We've got path and expect. So if we come to here, we can go PHP online, test, API posts. There we go. So if we go, I don't know, like the first one or something. JSON helpers I've not quite gotten the hang of them in the new Laravel docs. So if we come quickly to testing, HTTP tests, and testing JSON APIs, if we have a look, we can assert certain parts of the JSON, certain exact matches, asserting on JSON paths, team owner name. So what we could probably do here is if we come over and do some quick editing in perhaps pest maybe? Yeah, this one in here. We want anything in API to also, we could probably, no, we'll keep it under API. We wanted to have that, but also refresh database class. So let's simplify that one quickly, and let's just haven't installed the parallel plugin just yet. Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for joining me. We are doing some pest testing today. So, too few arguments over here. That's fine. We're just going to skip that for now because I just want to make sure we are doing things correctly. I want to get our testing set up nicely if possible. So let's move this over here. I love this background picture. It looks really, really cool on my my huge monitor, and when you change from like light mode to dark mode, it changes the background, and it just looks really cool. So at 8 o'clock, that should change. Hey, thanks for joining, everyone. So let's go through to our PHP Online API. We haven't got any in there. That is fine. So this should be empty, which means our test, we want that to PHP unit. We could do some stuff in here, I believe, with the environment, can't we? Pretty sure it's down here. We could do something like env, and then we can do something. Okay, let's double check this one. PHP unit set the environment in PHP unit. Here we go. PHP and env name. That's how we do it, I think. Yes, like that. Perfect. I was halfway there. So what we want the actually, has anyone got an example project that has got really good? I know who might have one. Opendoor.me. Do not use opendoor.me. This is absolutely fantastic. Let me just quickly sign in. Redirecting. Bang, here we go. So if we go to me, my contributions, you can see all of the different things that I've contributed to in the past, and it's perfect. Oh, the Laravel, really? Let me go there. They do. They don't have any of. So that's what we've got. That's what you need. This. Okay. So that should have been there by default, really, shouldn't it? So let's go add that in. Nope, we want to replace all of that PHP block, drop that in there, and just uncomment those. Reformat them quick. So we're not bothered about a lot of these, but we're going to keep it anyway, because why not? So now we can test. So let's focus on testing. There's enough people talk about opendoor.me. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. It is fantastic. If you have heard of it, you probably agree. So here's my profile, obviously. And you've got certain bits of information. These are all the people I've contributed to. Lots and lots of people, lots of different organizations. But I digress. Let's move back onto our testing. So what we need to look at here is when we're writing tests, we need to work with some data, right? So this is where we need to look at the factories. Luckily, I've created some factories. So here in the post test, what I'm going to need to do is a for each function. And what we need this one to do is basically set this post to be post factory create. So let's just simplify that as well. And we can just do that. And there we go. For each one, we're just going to assign this post to that. So let's just make sure that still runs. We failed. So post factory not found. Okay, it's not finding my post factory. That's annoying. Okay, so this is where we can start looking at the has factory, new static factory for model, get called class, return factory, static new factory, nothing in there. I suppose we might have to use this on here instead of that, because we've changed how factories are working in our Laravel application. So what we need to do here is basically return a new post factory. Take any arguments? I don't believe it takes any arguments. Lots of stuff. Construct, yes, it does. So now we need to no, it's not because of a dot. It's because it's struggling to find it. So if I just return this model back to the state it was in, that is a comma, not a dot, but we will test it. It's still struggling to find it. So we'll remove those, and we'll drop this in, and we'll return that should return this factory in theory. So where are we getting? Okay. Okay, so now there we go. Still failing. Why are we failing now? User ID. Oh dear. Okay. Ooh, it's because I've not logged in or anything. How shall I do this? For now, I'm just going to set this to be nullable, I think. There you go. Nope, already did that. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. So I know that's something that we haven't covered yet because I've been focusing on all the other stuff, and I've not really focused on the authentication because it's Jetstream. It's already authenticated. So I can now get a test. So let's say go back to the JSON tests, and this is where you can use a Fluent JSON testing. And I'm a really big fan of this. So you can say, okay, so assert JSON where missing, bang, done. And then obviously against collections, we can say, okay, so assert JSON has 3. The first one, JSON where, I mean, that's amazing. You know, what it can give you is just, let's have a look at it now. So assert JSON, and we're going to pass in this callable, settable JSON, simplify that one. We're going to name that JSON, and we can say that JSON has 1. Run. And look at that. Lovely. Okay, so we can rename this test now. So we can say it tests the index for posts. So once we've got that part, we can say, okay, so let's jump in and let's jump into that first one. So, okay, so the first one, here's our callable, Again, assertable JSON. Pass more JSON into there. Then we can say that JSON you need to do like where. Okay, so we can do something like where the ID is this post ID, etc. Again, let's see how that works. Oh, and now we're failing. So what we'll do is we're going to go to terminal quickly. Let's just zoom in so we've got a nice view. No, it's not GitHub, is it? Code, sites, PHP Online. Here we go. So, property 0 ID does not match the expected. Failed to. Okay, so that's because this should be key. There we go. So what we need to do is let's cover what went wrong there. So if we go to that endpoint itself, what happened is we call this resource, this post resource here, and the ID that we were trying to get is actually the key. So it's never going to match that ID that we just created. So we'll add a title body into there too. So we can also say that where the title is this post title, and that should show us that it was definitely that was a problem. This there we go, got there in the end. So basically all we're doing here is we are going through and say, okay, so get this route. We want to make sure that it's a okay response. If it's not an okay response, ideally we want to close out early because running any of the other tests, we know it's going to fail. Then we're going, okay, so let's run through the JSON that we've got. We've got one because we've only created one. And the first one is what we're going to focus on. And then we're going to say, okay, so the ID we're expecting for the output so we can understand the JSON shape is the key. That's proving that we're using this post resource. And then we're going to say, okay, so where the attribute title is the title that we're doing. And then etc is basically saying, yeah, etc. Run the next tests if there are any. And that's it. So that's it, basically. That to me is a pretty good test. I don't see how I could possibly test any better. You know, we're testing the status code, we're testing how many responses we're getting based on how much we're expecting the database to have, and we're testing the content. So to me, that is a very good integration test. Next, just go to V1. You can go to like the store controller. Okay, can we actually create one? What I'll do, I'll do a few endpoint tests, and then I'll jump into some unit tests, some of the domain level stuff that we did as well. So let's think of a naming. How do we want to name these? So do we want it to be test or it? Personally, I prefer it. It tests the index route for posts. It tests the ability to create a new post. I mean, if I was Luke Downing or if I was Nunu, then I'm pretty sure my routes here would look so much cooler. My tests here would look so much cooler, but I am not them. So unfortunately, let's just be happy with the fact that I can actually get it to work. So we want to post to the route of API v1 posts store. So this expects up to 3 arguments. So the next argument is going to be the data. So let's say we're going to create a new post. Let's pass with a title. We are going to want to pass through the description. Ooh, this is giving me an idea. This is giving me a really cool idea. So let's go to the pest docs quickly. Let's come down to datasets. What we can do is create some datasets inside our tests directory. So let's scroll down to our tests. Here we go. Create a new directory called datasets. And we're going to create one called posts.php. We're just going to keep it like that for now. And inside there, we just need to add dataset posts. And then within here, this is a dataset. What we can do from there is let's just create one for now. So we'll say the title is test post. Then the description is going to be test post description. And then the body is going to be test post body. Something really simple for now. Then we can come over to here. And this will be a post, which will be an email. Sorry, not an email, an array. So there's that. Send that off quickly. And then can I just... do that. There we go. And then within here, we can just say with posts. And let's just make sure that the status is going to be correct. And it should be created, I believe. Have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so argument must be of type string given. Okay, so have I misunderstood something here? Bound data sets. Okay, so you can do it like that. That's kind of cool. I do like that. It's not what I want though. Combining data sets. No, not what I'm after. Okay, so I kind of expected that to come back as an array. Perhaps it needs to be keyed as an array or something. So something like post something. So exit code. Why is it failing? Why are you failing me? Have a look. String given. Okay, so it's complaining about this for some reason. So I won't focus on that for now. I'll come back and look at that at another point. And instead we will just come to here and I will grab this array. I thought it'd be cool if we could try and play with data sets, but for some reason it just does not want to work today. So let's just see if it'll work. So we got a failure. Ooh, we received a 500. Foreign key constraint failed. What foreign key constraints are we expecting on a post? So on a post, we should be getting the user ID. So something to do with this index nullable that perhaps is causing issues. Just remigrate that. Okay, so we're still getting it. So we're still getting a 500 error. So let's scroll back through this. So insert into posts. Okay. So quick way to get around this for now until we start doing our that's because we're doing sync as well. Okay. Create post dispatch. We're going to then do an aggregate, retrieve, create post, which is going to hit some code over in here, I believe. Blogging, aggregates, projectors, post projector, handle, update post, update to array. So for now, do a quick array merge on both the object to an array. So what's happening here is, because we're not authenticated, it is throwing up issues because it's a foreign key. So for now, we will just set the user ID manually to 1. See if that fixes that issue. Nope, still complaining. That's probably because we haven't got a user. Got a user now. So no, it's still complaining. So we still get a 500. That is super strange. What could possibly be exploding at this point? I'm not seeing it. I am not seeing it. Is it something to do with the fact that it's using that? No. No. Strange. Have a quick look. Where be you failing? Where are you failing? This is a first. I never usually get these sort of issues. So integrity constraint, setting into posts, values, blah, blah, blah. Yep, expected all of that. Key, user ID of 1. Yeah, I'm back to using my headset this week because it failed me last week for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It just did, and it is quite frustrating. Post factory, create. Yeah, we go. Nothing in that. Create post. It's going to trigger that. There's a projector, which is going to handle that. It's going to go over to here. So in reality, it shouldn't matter, but for some reason it does. Sure, there's nothing funny going on. Get some cache. It's still failing. Okay, so let's just do that for now. And in here, we are going to do a very quick user factory create, and yeah, we'll just do that. Let's see what that does. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's not refreshing that migration, which is really strange because I've told it to. But hey, we'll have a look at that. So still failing for a different reason now, which is fine. We expected that part. So what we need to do for this is on the model itself, down here, domain shared, we basically need to almost replicate what we did for this new factory part, where we're overriding one of those factory methods. So it's below here. Don't want that. We want the user factory, and we're going to resolve and return it basically. Let's just do that again. Okay, that's fine. It's just the status code now. So I think what the problem is, because we're running in memory, we're not actually getting. Okay, so let's run this. You'll see what I mean. Bang. We were expecting OK, and we needed accepted, but we need to run this first because it's failing the foreign key constraint because we're trying to pass in a user ID that has not yet been created. Because we're using the migrations after each test, it's dropping all the content, or we've not seeded the test database, perhaps. Basically, the test database doesn't. Oh, sorry. There we go. Yeah, the test database was not having the user ID that we were trying to link to, so it's failing the integrity constraint. But now it works, so we're good. So we can assert that part. We shouldn't get any content back. So I don't know if we can do like something like assert, like you can't really assert body. Can you? We get download exact JSON forbidden header, blah blah blah. JSON count missing, structure assert no content, perhaps. I wonder if that'll do the trick. Okay. Oop. Okay, it's failing. Assert no con. Oh, wait a minute. Assert empty this get content. So that's actually overriding. I got all confused then. yeah, we might just have to forget that for now. We haven't got any body to test, so that will do the trick. So the next one, I suppose, V1. Oh, not that one. Is the show controller. So it will be done with naming for these ones. So it tests the ability to show an post, something super simple naming wise. Oh, can we? Ooh. I won't need that. Bang. Oh, thank you very much, Alex. That was a good spot. Definitely something I needed right there. So we can go root API v1 posts show this post key. And then we're just going to do something like assert status. Nope. Okay. And that. Cool. We're looking good. So we're getting that correctly. So now we can go jump into the Fluent Json testing. So we can assert the JSON as a callback, assertable JSON. And for this, we can say JSON where ID is this post key, etc. Run. Done. Cool. So we'll also add in the title in there because, just because. So we can also say where attributes dot title this post. And that again. Excellent. So what we could also do is let's duplicate this one. Test the ability to show an existing post with the user information. So parameters. Yeah, it's etc. is pretty cool. So basically, what I want to do here is I want to say, okay, I want to get API v1 posts this post key. We want to say include user. Basically, this is what we want to run. Ooh, 404. Can we do that? There we go. We got it. So, and then we want to say, so if we come back to these, we can say something like missing relationships dot user, maybe. It shouldn't be missing that, but that one should, in theory. So that's missing. we could do something like missing all, tap where all, where contains first. What do we has relationships? Like this, maybe. So what's he complaining about? So so this shouldn't have a relationship, or it should be an empty relationship, I believe. There we go. That's fine. So that's good enough for now. We're just creating an empty one without a user, and we're just basically testing that if they don't have a relationship, we can ask for the user, but it should be null. We can also test the opposite. So we could create a user and then assign it a post and then do things that way. But just for now, we'll stick to that. Updating. So let's have a look at updating. It tests the ability to update a post. So we can now do a patch request. BI v1 posts update this post e. So the status is going to be HTTP accepted, and we'll call it a day with that one. Okay, so okay, we're getting 500. We're not trying to update anything. So the data we want to send across is going to be. We need to pass like the entire thing over, don't we? Okay. This post array. And what we'll do is this post update like that. So got 500 again. So we're getting the same issue as what we had up here with the integrity constraint from the looks of it. Really need to solve some of this test setup, don't I? There we go. So we can update it. So what we could do here is we could say expect this post title to be this post title. I know that sounds like a really silly test, but then we're going to do this, and we're going to set this to be new title. Up here, the title is this. Can you do like a to not? Yeah, we'll do that, and then that's been accepted, and then we can say expect for Find. Like that for now, and then we can do a new expect post title to be new title. See if it works. And there we go. So basically all we're doing there is something really, yeah, I'd love to find a nicer way to generate this. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. That might be a better idea. Look, let's see if that now works. We'll worry about other stuff in a second. And yep, no, good idea. Good shout. So we're refreshing the post there, and we're just making sure that it is now, in fact, updated. That feels a little bit, but I suppose some things you just have to do, right? I mean, I suppose we could do the data title, then just pass through data here, and it doesn't look as bad doing it this way, I suppose. Oh, but now it does fail. 302. Description must not be greater than 120 characters. Ooh, random. So that is a bug in our factory. Because that time it... You think so? Array merge? I think that'd be nicer. Let's have a look. Let's test it. Let's try it and see, in the words of Gary. Good old Gary. So this post to array, and then we're going to pass through title as new title. On it. Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a very good shout. So let's just tidy this up, because this is starting to get a little bit crazy. So here's our roots. Then we're going to merge this array into that array. Do that, and we're going to set the status. But technically, we should be able to do set no content in theory. There we go. Yeah, that works. That was a very good shout, everyone. Thank you very much. That's a little bit cleaner. That can be moved up. This could probably, see daisies, simplify that, because it looks like we're going to need it in a few places. And we can do this. That into a one line because reasons. There you go, a little bit tidier. Next, let's look at deleting one. So it tests the that's kind of cool. So we're going to test the ability to delete a post. So we should be able to call this phi. We can say root API v1 Posts delete this post key. So status HTTP. Accepted. Done. And we're good. So that works. But let's actually test it. So how can we do the database tests in here? So pest, available function, assert status to be a collection, refreshing that, assert database has. So this accepts, I'm assuming, a table, so posts, and then we can say this post to array. Run it again. Okay. Ooh, we failed. It's formatting it in a funky dunky way. I've noticed this recently. It constantly does this to me. Constantly. It's finding similar results. That's not what I want it to do. I don't want to. So you could do that. Assert database has. Oh, you can do get JSON instead of get. That's kind of cool. That's nice. I like that. I like some of that too. Oh, so much cool stuff to use. Okay, so this is going to be horrible, but I think the only way to get around this is to say ID is this post ID, title is. Ugh, I hate myself even for writing this. I'm assuming this will fail. Maybe it passes. Oh, so we can just grab a partial, right? That's good enough. That works. So the database has definitely got that. We'll do this post refresh and then assert null this post deleted apps. Okay. Ooh. Can we? Not null. Okay. So what we can actually do is perhaps beforehand do this. Null and then assert not null. There we go. We got there. Right. And that's it. That looks good. Sounds good. Looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's pest it. Let's pest this. 0.35 seconds. 0.43 seconds. So I was actually speaking to Luke the other day. Parallel testing is only going to make the improvements you're hoping for as soon as you get over a certain amount of tests. If you've only got under 100 tests, it's not really going to make enough difference because of the way it's got to operate. It's got to spin up a new Symfony process in the background, and then it's got to spin it up, run it, wait for it to close. And that's not as fast as some might hope. So let's look at some unit tests, I think. So we've tested a few endpoints. That's working nicely. In terms of API endpoints we've got going on, we've pretty much tested all of them. Web-wise, we don't really have much going on. We've got a report test that we can test against. We got that, which doesn't, isn't important right now, and we've got that. So I did see something really cool on Twitter about a way to test other things. So let's have a look. Can we get web in here too? I'm going to create tests against some web routes too. So let's go and quickly do a new file. I'm testing this. Static page test. So what we want to do here is zoom in. It tests the status code for static pages. And what we want this to be, a function we're going to pass through that for now. And we're going to say page. We can say get page set status. I was actually doing this today at work just to get some big testing done. Let's have a look. Oh, look at that. So then let's say we had about as well. That'll fail because about's going to give us a 404. Oh, perfect. Look at that. If only there was a way I could create like a helper function to return all routes. I wouldn't know. No, I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that. That's me going off on a wild goose chase, and that's not what I'm here. I'm here to test things. So that's static pages. So let's have a look. So let's test some domain code. So we're going to create a new domain within here. And we're going to, this is the stuff for the logging. And the stuff we want to test within here is going to be things such as, actions, factories, that sort of stuff. I mean, we can start to test the aggregates, and we might have enough time for that. But I'm aiming to be under 2 hours tonight, if possible, because I've got a long day tomorrow. The wife is out, and I am watching the kids, and that is 5 kids plus me, so 6 kids, all in one house with no real adult supervision, but what I can provide. So it's going to be an interesting day. So we will look at value object factory test. Cool. Let's just test some value objects and stuff. Yes, Laracon as well. You know what? Let's rename this to just the value object test, because we can test a value object and factories all in the same file. So let's start with a factory. It can create a new post value object using the factory. So post is factory create. This needs to accept some data, I believe, attributes. So needs a title. It needs body and a description. So body and description. There we go. You have difficulty keeping one toddler busy, so I can't. Yeah, I feel sorry for my wife. I'm not teaching any of them to program yet. They're a little young, to be honest, and I don't want to force what I do onto the kids or anything like that. Same with, religion or what if we were vegetarian, I wouldn't want them to be forced to be vegetarian just because I might be. I'm very kind of very, very keen to make sure my kids have the choice. So we want to expect post to be an instance of post value object. What we're going to do, we're going to simplify that one. We also want to expect the post to array equal this. And then do with that tag to be ready. Let's see if that runs and works the way I want it to. Okay, so no, it just said no, basically. Not so useful. Okay, so must be of type array string given. Okay, so it's we're getting data there. So what are we actually getting? We're getting test coming through. Perhaps that needs to be an array of arrays. Nope. Okay, I've not figured that the data providers out yet, if I'm honest. So we won't worry just yet. So we're just going to set data to be that's data, and we want that to be data. And because keep it clean, there we go. So assert two arrays are equal. Okay, so we're gonna have to assume something on that as well. That's fine, we can do that. Equal, because we're doing some processing in the background, or we could, in fact, just enforce this. Okay. Now, okay, it's completely ignoring it. So that tells me we need to fix the factory itself. Post value object, published, and then we want to say published is attributes published or false. So that should fix that issue, and it didn't. Okay, completely spelled it wrong. Typical. Oh. Yeah, now let's check. And there, now we got it. Now we got it. Oh, that was painful. Okay, so yeah, that's looking okay. That's testing that the data that we can create we can create this post factory here, and we can assert its right instance, and we can say that it is, going to be the same equals when we turn it to an array. So we're testing both parts to the factory, the fact that the factory returns what it's meant to. We're testing that it is constructible, and we're testing that the output of to array will work. Yeah, I've got more than one person watching me, so my spelling's just gone right out the window. Okay, what's next? That's our post factory. Value objects, we've only really got one. Got jobs, actions. Okay, so this, we could test this. We could test the create post, but I get the feeling that this could fail because we've not bootstrapped the application. So what we'd need to do is in here, we're going to have to include the domain, which I didn't really want to do, but I suppose for now we will, just to make sure it works. So now let's just stick this on a full screen. Yes, all of these are working. What's next? Actions, testing the actions. Domain, blogging. And let's create a new action test, I suppose. So what we're testing at this stage is, if I just close down everything but this and open up an action like the create post. Let's just side by side it. And what we're going to do, we're going to pass it a value object, and we're going to expect a post to come back. And that post should have a UUID that we also pass it. So it can create a post from a value object and a UUID. I misspelled function. I should try to do something about that, like learn to spell or something. So all we need to do is get a UUID, and okay, so we literally just had that down here. So I could actually just grab this. There's a data. There's our data. And the UUID is going to be, we'll use the string helper because it's quicker. We only need it as a string. So what we can do is, what happens to what I'm actually testing out something called, not JetBrains. No, not that one. Fig. I'm testing out Fig. So I don't know if it'll show you, but let me come here a second. So if I just clear, I can really easily come to here and go it's something I'm trying at the minute, and unfortunately this and warp do not play together nicely. It tries to start as ZSH, it's checking for updates, and then it says it's unable to start because it's yeah, they're just, let's just run the update. Maybe it'll run together. It's very nice, and to be honest, Warp does have similar functionality, but I'm just testing out Fig because someone gave me an invite and people were saying it sounded cool. That That's the only reason I'm using it right now. So, right, what we need is our object is going to be post value object. So let's just say this is going to be a new post value. Okay, we don't need that. Simplify that. So we know that our title is going to be data title. Our description is going to be data description. Body is going to be data body, and published is going to be data published. Let's just quickly tidy this up. There's our object, and we're probably going to need to sort the arguments. So testing this action, all we need to do is expect this part, return of this. So this is going to accept an object and a UID. So the object is object and UUID is UUID. Just great naming conventions. To be instance of post. Oh, look, move this to it. No, we have to create the user first. Fine, it's a pain in the ass. Okay, so there we go. That worked. I'm very glad you like your stream. Your stream, my stream. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a quick drink. So we can see that this action is working nicely. And basically all we need next is something half similar. So it can update a post from an object, from a value object and a post model. So I think we're still going to have to use a create because of a referencing issue. But we're also going to we'll just do this user, and we can say user posts create. Drop that in there. Should be able to put all this back. Means we don't need data now. Or we could assign data to there. We don't need the UID. Title. The description. Published. And then we can do an update post. No. Action where we're handling it, and what we're expecting back is to be all, but we are also expecting to be true. So the object is the object and the post is post, maybe, or no, data. There we go. Let's have a quick run through and see what's working. Okay, so it is working already. Perfect. So all we're testing here is we're going to create a user because we know we need one, otherwise we're going to get an integrity constraint issue. Then we're going to create a post for that user straight away. We may as well do it this way. Why not? Then we're going to create a new value object using the data from here. And we're basically just going to say, okay, can we update this? Can we update the post? Basically, it's a very low level test, if I'm really honest. It's nothing. I mean, it's not doing anything too fancy. It's not really testing database stuff. We're testing the action only at this stage. So this is just kind of boilerplate. We've got to create that. And then we're just making sure that this works the way we'd expect it to. So we're making sure that the return is a Boolean and that it is, in fact, true. Because update does actually return a Boolean. If we have a quick look, a bool. So that's all we can do. I mean, we could go through the test other aspects of it and say, okay, so in fact, the title is going to be this 1, 2, 3. And we do this, and then we can say that expect this data refresh title to be this week. Like this. Let's see if that works. Yeah. So we can, we can test it further if we want to. And what we're doing here is just saying that, okay, so let's create this. This is what we're going to update it to. And we want to make sure that that is the updated version when we get the new, after we've ran that. All relatively straightforward stuff. What I'll probably do now is Sparsy. Let's go to Sparsy's website, who have just released their testing course, by the way. So definitely check it out if you are interested. Let's have a look at how we can test aggregates. So here's our aggregate. Here's a PHP unit test. So we can fake, given this event when account aggregate send method. Ooh. Okay, so given event when aggregate method assert recorded and assert not record. Okay, so that is kind of cool. Ah. Given when then. Okay, I've not actually written many tests for this before, so this is going to be an adventure for all of us. So if we come down to our blogging, we can do our new PHP file, and we're going to call this an aggregate test. This is going to be an adventure for all of us. So if we open up our aggregate quickly, and we'll choose a method to focus on first. So create post. Let's focus on create post. So it can, what have they named it? Okay, it can create a post. Post aggregate fake. Simplify that one quickly. And then we're going to say given the event post was created. Ooh, okay, we need to give it we need to new that up. So simplify this one and new post was created. That accepts a value object, user ID, and a UUID. So value object, UUID, and a user ID. So for this, we're actually going to have to go user again, factory gate, Omega issues. Apply that one. That one is golden. That one works. So we may as well just grab the value object there. Oh, no, value object test. We'll grab this one. So there's our user, which we're going to assign to user. And then we can grab this. Like that. Call this object because it's our value object. And let's just tidy that up. And user ID we're going to have, and UID is string helper, UID is string done. And let's simplify this. Import that one. That one, yep. Post was created, which is going to accept an object. UUID as UUID, and user ID as user ID. Given that, when something callable on the post aggregate as aggregate, when aggregate create post, and we need to pass the value object and a user ID into it. Oh, Jesus, this is getting... The object is going to be object, and the user ID is going to be user ID. Assert recorded. Wow, okay. Account limit. So basically we want to assert that basically assert that was recorded, right? Is that it? Is that all it's asking? Okay, so we need to also use, let's give ourselves some real estate here because this is starting to get a little bit messy. We want to use the object and user. Drop that so we can pull it all into view. All of that. And this is sort the arguments. quickly format that. Okay. Again here, sort those arguments. Let's just run. Let's see what happens when we run it. It fails. Two arrays are equal. Okay, so the UIDs seem to be different. Strange. Okay. Maybe we won't actually make it a UID, and maybe we'll go this. See what happens. Okay, so what's actually being returned is completely different. So the UUID isn't actually following through, which I kind of expected. Post was created. Post aggregate. We did kind of, okay, so this UUID. Okay, so post created this UUID, blah, blah, blah. So we're not actually expecting that. Drop that UUID a minute. Drop that UUID as well, and let's come over to the post was created. Drop it from there. Let's just run it and see what spits out. No, don't want to debug. Run it. Okay, so unknown named argument UUID and the post aggregate. That's fine. Again. And now we're passing. Okay, so something just went a little bit wonky. So what I'm going to do, because that is really annoying me, is this data attributes is data. And there we go. A little bit cleaner. So all we're doing here is we're faking our post aggregate, and given this event, when our aggregate root triggers this method, we want to assert that this event was recorded. So I'm wondering if I can say event equals that, and we can just say something like given event assert recorded event, because yeah, it's kind of one and the same at that point. Nope, it is complaining. Don't know what's complaining about now. Okay. Try and trick it. No, it's not going to trick it. Okay. So we'll just have to go back. Maybe that part works. Cool. So we can trim it down at least a little bit. Not that this actually gives it any value at all, unfortunately. Given that, do this, bit of that, and away we go. So this now passes. That is testing aggregates. Not bad. What other tests can it do? Can you test projectors or queries? So, yeah, I suppose you could test queries, but it's just testing a query. Projectors. Is there much more we can do in there? Okay, so that's faking, assert not recorded, disabling dispatched events. Event handlers. Ooh, yeah. The code coverage is going to be very minimal right now, I believe. So we'll do a vendor in pest bridge. Okay, we're actually doing better than what we thought. So all of these actions here from 4 to 5 aren't being tested. I'm okay with that. Web post store controller, I know we've not even bothered with that one yet. Redirect if authenticated, fine. Trusting host is fine. We haven't tested the user resource yet. I'm okay with that. Broadcast service provider, again, I'm okay with that. Fortify, I'm pretty okay with that because I deleted all the tests, basically. App layout is fine. Post builder, we've not needed it yet. Post, fine. I'm actually pretty okay with this. We'll set the min to be something like 80. So we're currently on 2/3 tested, which for an hour and a half is pretty good. One thing that did come up then was the post builder. So I'm going to quickly add a test for this. So what we'll do is in our tests, domain blogging, I'm just going to create a new builder test, something really simple. Let's just see if we can get some testing to look nicely here. So it can script our query to only published posts. So posts is post. Let's okay, we'll come back to that. Factory is going to create, and we're going to create 20. Cool. And we give it a table, posts, and we can say, okay, we expect 20. So that's bit's fine. We have got 20 results we can work with. Let's do it this way. Simplify that one. We don't actually need that to be a variable. And we're going to create another one here, and we're going to pass through published false. We could do this with a state really, but for now I'm just going to keep it to this. Okay, so res 10, but it should still run, still work. Perfect. So expect post published count or okay, we'll do do count to count to equal 10. Cool. And then we can literally do same and say unpublished count to also be 10. Okay. So that's where we need to go look at the post builder draft. We've called them draft, not unpublished. Now let's run it again. And now it passes. Cool, that works. So I'm going to commit again, and this time we're just going to say, let's go find this on YouTube quickly. Copy the URL, and we're going to say testing on stream. Done. To be honest, I think that is pretty darn good. So that was 66. We're now 67. There are certain other things we could test, like line 40 on post. I'm not too sure what's specific about that. Things of the key name. Okay. We got has slug not tested. So we could do, I suppose we could do a test for that quite easily within API post test. We can do something like getting them is accepted, domain, logging. We'll create a new, like a model test or something. Okay. Post model test in case we expand. So we can say something like it sets the slug on the post when the post is created. We could do something really, really simple, like title is test post. Then for this, we can say slug is string slug title. Simplify that one, and then we can say post equals post create. All we need is title to be the title, description to be description, and we'll set the body to be test body. Let's make sure that's not going to die on us. Okay, didn't perform any assertions. That is fine. We can live with that. So what we can do is we can expect post slug to be slug. There we go. So now that has slug, should now have better coverage, but apparently not. Don't know why not, but it doesn't. But I think, yeah, I think that's probably good enough for one day. You know, we've tested quite a lot. You know, we had no tests to start with, and now we have 13 tests. We're testing the API endpoint, we're testing the action, we're testing the builder to make sure that we can scope our query. Builder to published and draft posts. We're testing the aggregate itself, static page, value object testing, and a model itself, so that we can make sure that the slug is being set as expected. To me, that is, for an hour and 40 minutes, pretty reasonable. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it. This is probably one of my shorter streams, but if there's anything else you'd like to see me test or anything you'd like to see me work on next, hit me up on Twitter. I'm looking for something to stream next on Thursday. So if you've got ideas, hit me up. If not, I will come up with something this evening tomorrow and tweet out tomorrow. But thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you all on Twitter. See you later.